is the #1 first quarter scorer in the league. So he misses here on that three-point attempt, but gets it back after Ayton got the offensive rebound. Reaves knocks down that one.
The Lakers just beat the Knicks. The defense was locked in. Everyone was moving. Everyone was engaged. Austin Reaves looked like a different player, and LeBron James was not on the court for any of it. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And it's one the NBA media really does not want to talk about. Be honest in the comments. Do you actually think the Lakers are better without LeBron on the court right now? Or is this just one good game against a good team? Drop your real take, because this conversation needs honest answers.
Shot clock to 10. Dončić has the ball in his hands now. Finds Kennard. Drives baseline. It's Hachimura. Now Dončić. Long three. It's good!
The Los Angeles Lakers just defeated the New York Knicks. The same Knicks who had just dropped 142 points on the Denver Nuggets a few games before this one. The same Knicks who are one of the best offensive teams in the entire league this season. And the Lakers held them under 100 points. Under 100. The defense was engaged from the opening tip. There was communication. There was switching. There was effort on every single possession. Players were rotating, blocking shots, drawing charges, and doing all the things that winning basketball teams are supposed to do on that end of the floor. And LeBron James was not playing.
Lakers furious. They thought he was fouled. Excuse me. And it's now overtime. LeBron James so upset. Regulation is over. We go to the 5-minute OT.
Here now, before the responses come flooding in about being a hater or obsessing over LeBron, let's be very clear about something. This is not an emotional argument. This is not about disrespecting a legacy or ignoring what LeBron has done over the course of his career. This is about looking at what is happening right now in the current season with the current Lakers roster and being honest about what the numbers and the eye test are both saying very clearly.
Dončić, defended by Bridges, who doesn't have a basket, trying to keep Dončić from getting one. He shoots over 2 Knicks, and it's good from 15 feet.
The Lakers are 9-2 when it's primarily Luka Dončić and Austin Reaves running the show, without LeBron dragging the team in a different direction. 9-2. That's not a sample size you can dismiss. That's a genuine pattern.
Reaves up the court with the Lakers back in front by 9. Goes away from the screen and buries a three. Got rid of Josh Hart and dribbled the long ball.
And the way they play in those games, the defense, the ball movement, the engagement from every player on the roster looks completely different from what the team looks like when LeBron is out there doing his own thing. Let's start with the defense, because that's where the difference is most obvious and most dramatic. Against the Knicks, Jared Vanderbilt was rotating and blocking shots. Marcus Smart was 1 for 10 from the field. Genuinely terrible shooting night, and still finished as a team-high plus 23. You know why? Because he was locked in on defense the entire game. He was pressuring ball handlers, drawing charges, communicating on switches, and doing all the dirty work that doesn't show up in a box score, but absolutely determines whether a team wins or loses. Jackson Hayes got a strip steal. Luka took a charge. Multiple players took charges. The entire defensive unit was engaged and executing at a level that made you genuinely ask, how can this be the same team that has looked so disorganized and disinterested on defense in other games this season? The answer, inconvenient as it may be, is that the team's defensive engagement has a direct relationship with who is on the floor.
The Lakers today won without LeBron. The Lakers have been losing a lot lately, and LeBron injured his elbow, so he has been out. But today, they versed the New York Knicks. Now, Luka Dončić had 35 points, Austin Reaves had 25 points, and the Lakers beat the Knicks 110-97. What do you think of this? The Lakers are only one game back from the 3rd seed. Can they make some noise in the playoffs?
When LeBron is playing, the defensive effort level drops across the board. Not because the other players suddenly become bad defenders overnight, but because having someone on your team who openly and consistently prioritizes offense over defense, who cherry picks free layups at the other end instead of getting back, who hunts for rebounds instead of contesting shots, that attitude is contagious. It sets a tone, and that tone is the wrong one for a team that needs defensive intensity to compete at the highest level. When LeBron is not on the floor, that specific cancellation of defensive tone goes away, and suddenly everyone else plays harder on that end, because nobody is standing near half court waiting for a fast break opportunity. Nobody is watching a play develop from the opposite end while their teammates scramble to cover assignments. The whole team shifts into a different gear defensively, and the results speak for themselves. Holding a Knicks offense that just torched Denver for 142 points to under 100 is not something that happens by accident. Now let's talk about LeBron's on-off numbers, because they have been painting this exact picture for a while now, and the NBA media has been doing remarkable gymnastics to avoid discussing them seriously. When LeBron is on the court, the Lakers' performance drops on both ends. When he's off, it improves. That's what the numbers say. That's not a narrative someone invented to get clicks. That's the data. And the data is consistent enough across enough games this season that it cannot be explained away by opponent quality or random variation. The Lakers are simply a better basketball team right now when LeBron James is not playing.
Those of you that mocked me a month ago when I told you that the Lakers are a better basketball team without LeBron James, what do you say now? Those of you that mocked me a month ago when I came out and I told you that LeBron James is at best the third option for this team offensively, behind Luka Dončić at number 1 and Austin Reaves at number 2, you mocked me. But now here we are, almost a month into the season. The Lakers are 7-2, playing really good team basketball, and LeBron James has yet to play a minute. If LeBron comes back into the mix, he screws it all up. The Lakers have now figured out what a lot of you don't want to admit, but when you look in the mirror, when your wife tucks you into bed at night and gives you a kiss, mwah, and says, "Don't let the bed bugs bite," you have to know in your heart of hearts that the Lakers are a better basketball team without LeBron James.
Part of the reason this happens is something that sounds harsh but is genuinely accurate when you watch the games closely. LeBron's primary objective on the basketball court right now appears to be his own statistics. Not the score, not the team's defensive scheme, not helping younger players get into rhythm. His stats. He forces possessions that should go in different directions. He stays on the court in blowout games to chase records and triple-doubles. He leads the league in fast break points. And the way he does it is by literally standing on the other end of the court while his teammates defend, waiting to receive an outlet pass for an easy layup. That's not a superstar making his team better. That's a veteran player optimizing for his own numbers at the expense of his team's competitiveness. And here's where the knock-on effects get really damaging. When you have a player doing his own thing and operating outside of what the team is trying to accomplish, it doesn't just hurt the team in isolation. It forces every other player on the roster to compensate. Luka Dončić has to take more bad shots because LeBron isn't moving without the ball or making the cuts that a player like Marcus Smart would make to create better looks. Austin Reaves has to work harder defensively and take on more defensive assignments than he should because he's not getting the help from a capable defender that he would get from someone like Vanderbilt playing those minutes instead. Rui Hachimura gets fewer catch-and-shoot opportunities because the spacing is disrupted and his minutes are reduced. Everybody else on the roster is either out of their comfort zone or operating outside of their optimal role because of the adjustments required to accommodate what LeBron is and is not doing. That's the real damage. It's not just that LeBron individually is a net negative right now. It's that his presence reshapes the entire team in ways that make multiple other players worse simultaneously. Remove that variable and suddenly everyone finds their spot again. Luka gets better looks. Reaves plays with more freedom and confidence. The role players get into their rhythm. The defense becomes coherent. The team starts winning games it should be winning. Let's address the Luka Dončić conversation while we're here because it's relevant. He has been criticized for complaining to officials and for his defense, and some of that criticism has merit. Nobody is claiming Luka is an elite defender. But here's the thing. His defense is better than the media narrative suggests. He is not giving up 40 points a game to his matchup. He is not the worst defender in the league. His offensive production is so explosive and so consistent that even if you accept his defensive limitations at face value, the trade-off is absolutely worth it. And importantly, you can build a winning team around Luka Dončić because he moves the ball, creates for others, and makes his teammates better in the ways that actually show up when you look at how the offense functions with him running it. The same cannot currently be said about LeBron. His stats look impressive on the surface because he has the ball in his hands constantly and is always chasing opportunities to pad his numbers. But efficiency matters. Impact matters. And when you strip away the raw counting stats and look at what the team actually looks like when he plays versus when he doesn't, the picture is not flattering. Marcus Smart's performance against the Knicks is actually the perfect summary of the whole argument. 1 for 10 shooting, terrible night with the ball, and a team-high plus 23 because his defensive effort and communication lifted every player around him. That is what engaged, team-first basketball looks like from a veteran player. That is the kind of contribution that wins games and creates winning cultures. Smart understands that his value on this team is not his box score. It's his impact on how the team functions. And he delivers that impact every single night, regardless of how his own numbers look. LeBron, at this stage of his career, is not doing that. He is not finding a reduced role that fits what this team needs. He is not coming off the bench to provide veteran leadership in shorter bursts. He is not taking fewer minutes and using them more efficiently. He wants to be a starter. He wants his stats. He wants to be a star on this team. And while that might make sense from the perspective of his individual legacy and where he wants his career numbers to land historically, it is actively hurting the Los Angeles Lakers' chances of being a genuinely competitive team. This does not automatically make the Lakers championship contenders without LeBron. Let's be clear about that. The roster still has real questions and real limitations beyond the LeBron situation. But what it does show, clearly and consistently, is that the path forward for this team does not run through LeBron James playing heavy minutes and chasing statistics. The team is better without that. The numbers say it. The eye test says it. The defense against the Knicks said it louder than anything else could. It is time to move on. Not because LeBron is a bad person or because his legacy deserves to be torn down, but because professional basketball teams exist to win games, not to be a platform for individual statistical milestones. And right now, the Lakers win more games when LeBron James is watching from the bench. That's just the truth, and the Knicks game proved it again. The Lakers held a Knicks team that dropped 142 on Denver to under 100 points, without LeBron. The defense was locked in, everyone was engaged, and the team looked completely different. The pattern is clear at this point. If this video made you think, hit like and subscribe, because this conversation is nowhere near finished.